We are live, guys. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I'm here with my co-host, Dave. Dave, what's going on, brother?
Jonathan, I am good. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Living a dream. Had a good weekend.
Awesome.
Got rid of the beard. Um, my kids, my wife are like, "You look 10 years younger." I'm like, "Cool, cool."
Always does wonders, right?
Yeah, I like. Listen, I like it. I will go back to it, just not when I'm all sick and nasally.
It's like
So
a it's like a bald head, man. You gotta just quick and maintain, man. That's the next step for me. I think I'm gonna lose up top.
yeah. So what do we got, Dave?
Let's talk about, hey, Mindset Monday, right? So let's talk about some voices in our head today. Let's talk about that boss voice and that bitch voice, right? As Andy likes to call it. But guys, what's the story you're telling yourself? Every day. If you're trying to level up, are you ready to go? Are you ready to kick ass? Are you ready to do hard things, right? To accomplish your goals? Or are you waking up and look, it's it's
Yeah, but dude,
hard.
define hard things, and because everyone says it's hard and you do this, right? Like that's a cop out, dude. Everyone says shit's hard.
It
Okay,
is.
let's define hard things. Hard things that get you ahead.
Yes.
Today I woke up at 6, did my workout, read. I was in the office by 8:30. Okay, I'm focused and dialed in for the next. I'll probably be here till 7, 8 o'clock, depending on when my game is later.
Mhm.
Right, go home, work out, meditate, do whatever else I have to do, go to bed. There's nothing hard. It's what are your routine? What's your habits, right? The best way to describe this, like what you're talking about, is well, how do you control, what you have to do, and do you let yourself talk you out of things? Okay, one of the best things I can describe is when a kid's trying to learn a new sport. Okay, like I'll give you an example. I got all this training gear. It sat in my garage for the last 5 years for hockey. My kids are getting back into hockey now. Do you know why? And I realize it's time that they might want to actually play, and it might be time to invest in them playing like travel hockey, because all weekend, instead of going out, instead of doing all the things they wanted to do, they were actually in the garage training, right? They took time instead of playing, even though it really is play, to train. What does your dedication look like? What does your sacrifice look like? What are you going to focus on instead? So many people get caught up in a place where they're stuck when they're trying to build their company, right? Let's say they're great at sales, they're great at relationships, but they're not good at marketing. Okay. Well, you have to try enough things marketing until you figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then you move on to the next problem. And that's how, and you go systematically, challenge by challenge. And you don't stop until you figure it out. That, Dave, I think is what people refer to as hard. It's just not giving up after the first thing doesn't work.
Right. And into that perspective. But I also think it's if you're stuck in a certain place, and if you're not used to whatever the next step is, or if it's very uncomfortable, I think a lot of people on the surface also think that it's easy. Things are easier than what they actually are. Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there today. Everything's instant, right? Instant, Amazon, instant at your door, food, instant groceries, all this crazy technology, which is good, but it also, I think, takes away and makes you lazy at a lot of things. For me personally, and I've seen this since I've changed a lot, like over the last 3 years. And we also beat ourselves up too if we're not at a certain point, but we forget where we started, right? So when you're used to something and you want to get to somewhere else, it is hard in that sense, right? Like you broke down your day, dude. I wake up at 4 o'clock, right? Not because I want to or I like it. It is hard for me to get that going, but it becomes a habit, becomes a
Mhm.
ritual, right? And you're getting those things done. It leads to more productivity through the day. And you're right. Like, what are you doing? Like, what habits are you creating? What is your structure throughout the day? And that took a long time for me to get used to that. You're talking about a guy back in the day who used to wake up at 11 noon, right? Before I quote unquote got my shit together. And that's not an easy transition. You are your habits, and those were my shitty habits. That's it is what it is, right? But you had those are hard things for me. Now they're becoming easy, right? So then now what's the next hardest thing? I thought that was funny when you said, "Hey, I got to give you Northeast guys credit when you were out in Kansas City because
Oh yeah,
it is cold as shit, right?"
that was miserable.
Yeah, yesterday, dude, it was cold here, but it was raining like a son of a bitch. And I went out for an outdoor, and I forget what I was listening to, and I got pissed off at something. I said, you know what? I was like, I'm not done here. I'm gonna go an extra 2 miles. And I just went on this crazy hilly spot that we have in my area, and I beat the shit out of myself, right? And then the crazy thing was, holy shit, and I gotta go back. Like this is crazy, and like those are those little things to push that extra oomph a little further, man. Because it's sometimes you think it's, hey man, I don't want to go back to that 11 o'clock guy, a guy that used to drink on end 7 days a week. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Those are choose your hard moments. It's hard living in that manner, but it's also hard getting to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember something. If you are actively replacing bad habits with good habits, right, the quality of life is going to change and improve drastically, right? Like, think about it. You cut out alcohol, you replace it with drinking a gallon of water. You're hydrated, right? You're thinking clear, okay? You're instead of sleeping in till 8:30, right, and then jumping out of bed and going to work, waking up at 6 o'clock, getting an outdoor workout in, reading, then doing it, right? It's just replacing bad habits with good habits until you're running and you have all this momentum in your life. It's just one little situation. Fix this or improve this. All right, to the next area. Then you do it again, rinse and repeat. It's not that. It's really simple when you talk about it. Having the discipline to put it in action and stay with it in action is much, much more complex, right? It's telling yourself, hey, this is what I'm doing no matter what. There's no bargaining, there's no negotiating. It's almost like treating yourself like you're a 4-year-old. Okay. Think about it. You don't let your kid determine what bedtime. No, I'm serious, man.
I know.
Like, you don't let your kids determine what bedtime or what they're going to eat. Otherwise it would be chicken fingers and fries, and they'd be going to bed at fucking 12 o'clock every night. All right. Well, guess what? You're kind of similar. You want to dictate when you should go to bed, what fuel you're putting in your body. I specifically said fuel because the problem people have with food is they fantasize about it. Most people don't have a healthy relationship with food. It is just that fuel. Just think of it as fuel. Put in good fuel, okay? Get enough rest, actually work out, put good things in your body. It's not a hard thing to get better, like every day. You can do one little thing every day to get a little better. It's not that hard.
You say
Anyway.
put good things in your body, but you also got to put good things in your mind.
Yeah, of course, dude. That's where the reading comes into play. That's where the visualization comes into play. It's not just one little thing. It's doing a lot of little things that add up, and then it allows you to build that momentum in your life. And most people don't stick with it long enough to actually see the results. That's the truth. Like there's nothing hard to break down here.
No.
What else you got, Dave?
Just not much, man. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's all these things that we talk about every week. They correlate all together, right? They're all small little pieces to the puzzle. They're all little micro sets of the bigger picture.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, we will catch you on Financial Fitness Friday. Be good. Have a great week. Crush it. And see you then.
Be great, y'all.